Nina Kulagina, the psychic of the Cold War. Nina Kulagina, born Nina Sergeyevna Kulagina on July 30th, 1926, in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, is one of the most famous figures in the history of alleged psychic phenomena. Her supposed abilities, particularly in psychokinesis, the ability to move objects with the mind, made her a subject of intense study and controversy during the Cold War era. Kulagina's life and the investigations surrounding her abilities provide a fascinating window into the intersection of science, the paranormal, and politics during a time of heightened tension between the Soviet Union and the West. Kulagina grew up in Leningrad and experienced the devastating siege of Leningrad during World War II. She served as a radio operator in the Soviet Army, demonstrating courage and determination in the face of war. After the war, she lived a relatively quiet life as a housewife and mother. However, her life took a dramatic turn in the late 1950s when her purported psychic abilities came to light. Kulagina claimed that her psychic talents were inherited from her mother, who also exhibited unusual abilities. Her early experiences reportedly included strange occurrences, such as objects moving without explanation. However, it wasn't until the Soviet Union's scientific community began taking an interest in paranormal phenomena that her abilities came under formal scrutiny. In the 1960s, Soviet scientists began exploring psychic phenomena as part of broader efforts to understand and potentially harness human capabilities. This interest was driven in part by Cold War competition. Both the Soviet Union and the United States were rumored to have research programs investigating psychic phenomena for military and intelligence purposes. Kulagina's abilities caught the attention of researchers, and she became a key subject of study. Soviet scientists conducted numerous experiments with Kulagina, many of which were documented in films and academic papers. She was tested under controlled conditions, where she allegedly demonstrated the ability to move small objects without touching them. Items such as matchsticks, watches, and even compass needles were said to respond to her focus. These experiments often took place in laboratories, with scientists observing and recording her actions. One of the most famous experiments involved Kulagina's supposed ability to influence biological systems. In a highly publicized demonstration, she reportedly stopped the beating heart of a frog placed in a petri dish. This particular experiment led to heightened interest in her abilities and raised questions about the potential implications for medical science and human biology. Observers noted that Kulagina's psychokinetic performances were often preceded by intense concentration. She would reportedly meditate or enter a trance-like state, focusing her attention on the object she intended to move. Witnesses described physical signs of exertion, such as heavy breathing, sweating, and visible strain. After her demonstrations, Kulagina often appeared fatigued, suggesting that these activities required significant energy. Kulagina's demonstrations were not without controversy. Skeptics both within and outside the Soviet Union questioned the validity of her abilities. Western skeptics were particularly vocal, viewing Kulagina's abilities as part of Soviet propaganda aimed at demonstrating the superiority of Soviet science. However, some researchers argued that the rigorous controls under which she was tested made fraud unlikely. Soviet scientists, including prominent figures like Leonid Vassiliev, defended their methodologies and insisted that Kulagina's abilities were genuine. Vassiliev worked as a professor of physiology at Leningrad University. He helped establish the first parapsychology laboratory at Leningrad. Kulagina's case became a touchstone for debates about the validity of parapsychology as a scientific discipline. Proponents of parapsychology viewed her abilities as evidence that the human mind could influence the physical world in ways that defied conventional understanding. They argued that her case warranted further investigation and called for more rigorous scientific study of psychic phenomena. By the 1970s, interest in Kulagina's abilities began to wane. The Soviet Union's focus on psychic research shifted, and the scientific community grew more skeptical of her claims. Kulagina's health also deteriorated, which she attributed to the physical toll of her psychic activities. She suffered from heart problems and other ailments, which she claimed were exacerbated by the strain of her demonstrations. Despite her declining health, Kulagina continued to assert the authenticity of her abilities. She reportedly expressed frustration with skeptics and the lack of recognition for her contributions to science. She died in 1990, leaving behind a legacy that remains both fascinating and controversial. Nina Kulagina's story occupies a unique place in the history of psychic phenomena and Cold War culture. Her abilities captivated audiences and sparked intense debate, reflecting broader societal anxieties about the limits of human potential and the role of science in understanding the unknown. Kulagina's case also highlights the intersection of science and politics during the Cold War. The Soviet Union's interest in her abilities was tied to broader efforts to demonstrate the superiority of Soviet science and technology. Her story thus serves as a reminder of how geopolitical tensions can shape the pursuit of knowledge and the framing of scientific inquiry. In the years since her death, Kulagina has remained a polarizing figure. For believers in psychic phenomena, she represents one of the most compelling cases of psychokinesis in history. For skeptics, she serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pseudoscience and the need for rigorous standards in scientific research. Nina Kulagina's life and legacy offer a fascinating glimpse into the complexities of human belief, the limits of scientific understanding, and the interplay between culture and science. Whether viewed as a genuine psychic or a masterful illusionist, she remains an enduring figure in the history of parapsychology and a symbol of the enduring mystery of the human mind. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. See you on the next one.